We haven't actually agreed on a name for the podcast just yet. Yeah. So, welcome to the first episode of this podcast where we're going to be discussing football, some bits of FIFA, and when we talk about football, I think it's going to mainly be the Premier League. That's what we have a lot of knowledge on. Obviously, we both support Arsenal, but we'll try not to be so biased.
We'll try to keep the bias to a minimum.
So today we've actually just wanted to kick this off because we were so excited to sort of get going. There's a lot going on in football at the moment. Transfer market is really active.
All the leagues are kicking off.
Exactly.
Transfer market's still open. Everyone started their fantasy team.
Yeah, everyone started their fantasy Premier League team.
And to be honest, there's a lot of drama going on with a few clubs.
There is, and the first one that we said we were going to start with is actually Barcelona, right?
Well, to be honest, there's a lot of information out there, and it can become quite confusing.
Yeah.
So there's all this talk about financial levers going on at Barcelona.
Yeah.
I think we all know that Barcelona are basically in huge amounts of debt.
Yeah.
So how have they managed to sign all these players?
That is a very, very, very good question. And the thing is, as well, it's not just being able to sign these players; it's signing these players for the amounts that they've been paying. So, Lewandowski,
big sums.
How old is he? Isn't he 33 now? Am I right in saying that? I think he's 33, right?
Lewandowski, 33.
Yeah. Okay. And they paid how much for him? And he only had one season left in his contract. So
Lewandowski has gone for 51 million euros. And he's at the end of his career. Not going to knock Lewandowski for his career. Absolute top forward.
Yeah.
But, can he justify 51 million euros as a transfer fee at this stage of his career? I don't know. I don't know if he's still there. Yeah. I imagine that he's still got another 2 seasons in him, and he's gonna probably score 30 goals again in La Liga.
Yeah.
But does it justify 51 million euros at the current state of the transfer market when a player like Haaland is going for the same sort of money?
Yeah. It is. That's what I mean, and I think that's what I find strange, because now you're talking about big sums of money being spent, and at the same time, it's being spent by a team who is struggling, by a team who literally had to let go of, arguably the best player in the world in the history or whatever, in Messi just last year, because of the mess that they're in. So
because they couldn't afford the wages.
Exactly. So how did we go from that to now this? And now they've got they've gone, obviously, they're struggling and whatnot. But now you've got Lewandowski, you've got Aubameyang up there, and you've got Memphis Depay, right? And I think I'm obviously missing. What's his name? The guy from Denmark, Chris Brown lookalike. I can't.
Chris Brown lookalike.
Yeah. What's his name, man? Is it Martin? I don't know how to. Breath White. Hey, listen. All these players are agreeing to go to Barcelona now, right? So, for example, Rafinha, right? Rafinha had an offer from Chelsea. I remember you mentioned this earlier. You said Chelsea are about to basically seal the deal. Tell me a bit more about this.
It was essentially a done deal. So there was actually an interview. So David Ornstein from The Athletic, he done an interview with Radrizzani, who's he's the guy at Leeds, basically. And he said Barcelona were not in a position to buy players. They were shopping around, but they weren't able to confirm deals, and because their financial situation was so unclear. So Leeds had made a deal with Chelsea, and Rafinha was basically open to move into a Premier League club, and the deal was done.
Yeah.
So it was finished. Radrizzani had basically signed with Chelsea the deal for Rafinha to go to Chelsea. It was done. It was a done deal.
Yeah.
And Chelsea basically approached Rafinha and Rafinha's agent and asked him to wait and said that we will
That's
have you at
Barcelona, yeah. Barcelona, yeah,
Barcelona's agents. They went to Rafinha's agents and they said, "Look, we want you at Barcelona," but they didn't have the money. They did not
yeah,
have the money to sign him. They didn't have the money to go to Leeds and say, "We'll give you 65 million for Rafinha, and we'll take him off your hands." Done deal. That
yeah,
was not the case. It was the case of they went to Rafinha and said, "Look, can you wait and come and sign for us once we sorted out our financial situation?" When Chelsea had already signed a deal with Leeds and agreed to pay the money
yeah,
and signed Rafinha, and he was going to West London.
yeah,
So they were stepping on everyone's toes, basically Barcelona, behind everyone's back.
yeah,
Um, so in the end, Rafinha and Rafinha's agent, because of the way the transfer market is these days, the players and the agents have so much power and control over these transactions where the player's going to go. They had the power to say, no, I'm not going to Chelsea. I want
mm,
to go to Barcelona, and you're going to have to wait for your money.
yeah.
Like they're essentially telling Leeds,
That's-
you have to wait for your money because I want to go to Barcelona, and because Barcelona have the clout, being the club that they are,
Yeah.
they have the ability to do that and basically go there and say, "We want you, Rafinha, but I can't play. I can't pay for you. You need to tell your club to wait for us to get the money,
Mm,
and then you can come and play for us." But this is where it all gets so grey because Barcelona still haven't paid Leeds,
yeah.
so the Leeds are still waiting for their money. But in the media, Rafinha signed for Leeds.
Because there's so many aspects of it. Like, why are clubs agreeing to even do business with a club like that? Why are players agreeing to put themselves in a position like that where they're saying, okay, I want to go and
Yeah,
play for that great club? Don't get me wrong, it's Barcelona. Like, of
of course,
course.
of course. Historically, the best club
Yeah.
in on the continent.
But it's just like every big team sort of runs into these issues and they're sort of, take a couple of years to rebuild and whatnot, and then you come back stronger. But I feel like Barcelona are sort of like refusing to take that route.
They have 1.35 billion euros debt,
Yeah,
right? And they can just go and sell off some TV rights,
yeah, yeah,
image rights, whatever, and then they're going to spend, another 200 to 300 million on players, which they don't have.
yeah,
Like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't equate to something that's fair or even in a sporting,
yeah,
in a sporting world. It's not fair. It's not even. It's not. There's big clubs in Spain which, um, they all abide by their books. They're trying to balance their books. They're trying to bring in players and earn
yeah,
revenue from where they can. And
yeah,
and Barcelona just go and spend whatever they want and sell, you know, essentially something that's not even real,
yeah,
and suddenly they can spend 300 million on players. It
yeah.
it seems unfair, doesn't it?
Almost like now you're relying on yourself to make X amount of money by winning certain competitions or getting in
Well, yeah,
certain
they
positions
they
and stuff
they're,
like
they're
that.
signing the contract, aren't they? They essentially have to go
Yeah.
and win La Liga, win
So
the Champions League, win the cup, everything.
yeah, so you're already like at the base of this whole build. Yeah, you is so shaky and it could start to fall apart at any given moment, whether any of those things you don't achieve, which is very possible,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
if, for example, they are trying to get rid of Frankie de Jong. So as far as I'm aware, the thing with Frankie de Jong is his salary. They Barcelona owe him 17 million
yeah.
euros, right,
That's
which
right.
is crazy, right?
In
No
in
wonder he doesn't
deferred
want to leave.
wages, like he just hasn't been paid those wages.
No, like that's crazy. And don't bear in mind as well, this is happening while he's dedicated, his life and everything like that to this club and he's given it his all, yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's
you've
moved
got
his
the
life over there.
fans. Exactly. And he's a good player. It's not like he's turned out to be a flop. There's been a lot of flops at Barcelona. He's at Barcelona, giving it a good go, right? And you've got the fans. I've seen a video the other day, the fans basically booing him and whatnot when he was driving into training, right? These are
Ah, it's
Barcelona
so bad,
fans. But
so
because of
bad.
what? Because you want him to get rid of his contract.
Well,
And
well,
now,
well, well no, but the deal is as well is that Barcelona want him to stay,
yeah,
but only if he agrees to take a £6 million settlement.
Yeah,
Like he needs to cut his wages so significantly.
yeah.
Why would
Why?
you? Why would you?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
signed a contract with him. He didn't agree that. Barcelona offered that.
I still genuinely, yeah. I think from the outside looking in, because obviously you have a lot of insiders, a lot of people that support Barcelona directly. They might disagree with what we're saying right here, but I
Yeah,
think honestly, sometimes see from the outside looking in, you can see it so much clearer, and you can see what's going on with Barcelona. Like I said, I feel a little bit sorry for them, but mostly I don't. Like I feel sorry for the fans. I feel sorry for the actual club itself and what it
I
is.
I I I think it's
But
hard to feel sorry for them, to be honest.
well, yeah,
Come on.
those were booing. Well, actually, it wasn't just De Jong they were booing. They were booing that Martin as well when he was going into the pitch.
Yeah.
That's messed up, man. You're messed up for booing him. Like, you know what? I'll tell you about what I said. Yeah, I don't want to make it bad on first step, but like time will tell. I don't feel bad at all now. Yeah, I don't feel bad at all.
Come on. You can't feel bad for Barcelona.
I hope you get your karma.
They've taken the piss and they're gonna
they
get their karma.
Yeah, exactly. They could turn it around, but I very
Listen,
highly doubt it. Yeah, that's it. You know
what did Nagelsmann say about them?
who?
You know, the Bayern Munich's manager.
Oh yes, so it's yeah, gun.
He said they're the only club in the world that can buy a player without any money. It's
That's
weird and crazy.
and that's coming from Bayern Munich as well. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
club that
come
buys
on.
everyone. Okay, well let's leave one
Outtake right
miserable
there.
in it. Let's leave. Yeah, so and the 33-minute mark, right? We found out what's really going on. So that's 33 minutes of my life. I can't get
hot,
back.
hot reporters here.
So okay, I'll tell you what. Maybe because we are Premier League experts, maybe we don't know so much about the La Liga. But I'll tell you one club that I feel like I do know a lot about. That is Manchester United, right? Well, I mean, I've watched both of their matches, right? I've seen all 6 goals they've conceded and all the goals they didn't score. So I've been there, right?
And enjoyed
And
it.
yeah, oh, I loved it. I mean, they I definitely don't feel sorry for, right? But you know, I think that's another one that I do think is crazy. You know, I don't know where to start. I just do genuinely think it's crazy. They waited last season, right? They waited for the new manager to come in. Everybody was talking about Eric Ten Hag to come through, and he's going to be the savior. He's the one that's going to take Man United back to where they belong, right? Everybody before it was their fault. It was Ralph's issue. It was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who, by the way, I feel sorry for.
Well, I've
Um,
got an issue with that as well, with the way that Ralph Ragnick was treated,
yeah,
because there was so much talk about him being such a bad manager and the way that he's managed the club.
mm,
He's made a mess. He's mismanaged the players. Nonsense,
yeah,
nonsense. He done a good job for what he
yeah,
had. And
yeah,
that's the problem with Man United at the moment that I see, is that this level of pressure and fan expectation put on the managers is a
yeah.
joke.
That's too much.
You can't you compare the players that they are with the managers. It's a joke. They're
Mm,
never going to achieve what they want
yeah.
with the way that this club's managed.
Exactly. But I think it was the whole idea of genuinely. I did feel like they were just waiting for him to come. First off, everybody knows
Hundred
like
percent.
Pochettino was there and like he could have been taken. Conte was there and he was out of work for a while. And I think he would have been great because if someone could help Spurs, then you could probably help anyone else. Do you know what I mean? And I think he could have done a good job with United. But that makes me think they didn't get these managers for a reason, right? That's maybe the hierarchy in Man United. They don't want these sort of managers. Conte is very opinionated. If he's not getting the money he wants and stuff like that, he'll start to. So hold on a minute. Even though he can
Yeah,
help us to get where we need to be, I'm not going to get him because he might have issues financially. So that's actually a massive sort of like red flag there. And then you got Pochettino.
yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, I think Pochettino can
They had
work with what he's
Mourinho, didn't
got.
they? They had Mourinho there.
And I think obviously
Maybe
Mourinho clearly done a really good job. Everybody's saying he failed, but he came second, and then he won the Europa League with
exactly
them.
won the Europa.
I mean, clearly that's the best even like they could get near at this sort of current period. So clearly Mourinho did actually do a half decent job with them, and I believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer done a great job with them.
I think so.
For you to go with that team, like I said, I think it was 18 games, right? 18 games unbeaten.
Yeah,
That's crazy. You
yeah,
beat
and
PSG and
he got the
stuff.
best out of Fernandez.
Yeah. Oh my God. When he made Fernandez look like the
Look,
best player in the league for a
absolute
few
world
months.
class. Yeah,
Exactly. So I genuinely think like that. It is baffling to me because their expectations was like, so high. So you're disappointed with everything that comes your way, even though that's actually an achievement for who you are or what you are or what you can do. So I think
yeah.
now they're actually paying back for it because you've waited for this manager this whole damn time for him to come through and save the day. And I remember this is what made me laugh, yeah, when they were taking videos, yeah, of the Man United team of Ten Hag, like making them do basic training drills, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, look at him! He's transformed the club." Like, shut
Yeah,
up, man.
we've got the Dutch professor.
Yeah,
No,
it is worrying that this is what you're sort of thinking. Yeah, this is it. And I think to me, it's almost like he burnt out all his crazy good tactics in the preseason. You've won a couple games, you beat Liverpool in the preseason, and now the real deal starts. Right, we're in the league now, and then look at what's happening. Where's your striker? Ronaldo doesn't want to stay. I don't blame
yeah,
Ronaldo, by the way. Like
no. Of course
he's
not.
he's not got long left. He's always been in the Champions League. He's capable of playing Champions League. He's your highest goal
They,
scorer.
yeah,
Let him
they
go.
they they, they haven't brought in anyone who's going to significantly improve that squad.
Nope. Nope. No.
So if
No.
you're in Ronaldo's position, you're not in the Champions League. You've got no hope of winning the Premier League.
Yeah.
You're in the last, let's say, 2 years of your career. With
Mm-hmm.
you don't know with Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Why would you want to stay there? Don't
Exactly.
I don't disagree with him,
And
but it doesn't justify the attitude that he shows. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it just doesn't work.
But do you think so? For me, it's quite interesting. Do you think that it's just simply the case of is he just getting angry? Is Ronaldo getting angry because he's not going, or but like,
But
because there has to be more of a reason? Is he not allowed to go, or can he not find the club, or what is actually behind it?
to be honest, they're professional footballers paid huge sums of money.
Yeah.
You've you've you wanted to join the club. You signed up.
Mm.
You know whether or not that club is competing for titles.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you need to be showing more than what he's showing. The same with Fernandez. The two of them, the attitude is stinks. It's
Yeah.
so bad. You see, it's like the game against Brentford. Did you see how much Ronaldo and Fernandez were sulking? They have their heads down.
Mm.
They're crying about what's going on around them,
Yeah.
but they're not. You know, that's not helping their teammates. It's not going to help the team perform any better.
Yeah.
So whether or not Ronaldo deserves to be there, he signed a contract. He should be performing better than what he is.
Yeah, because I've got him in the fantasy Premier League. I had hopes in you, Ronaldo, mate. Bloody hell! And now he's lost that zero
You
point
got
0.1.
absolutely mocked for that. As soon as I saw
Yeah,
Ronaldo, I said, "Oh right, mate, that's a good choice, isn't it?"
that's fight backfired badly. I
He is
did.
not. He's not the one this season. He's sulking the whole way through
I
the
know,
league,
I
mate.
know, but I thought he would sulk his way out. So like he would sulk, right, and then nobody wants to buy him, so he
Where's
goes
he?
into the
Where's he
first
gonna go?
game. Listen, I don't know, but then if he starts the season right, and then he scores like a hat trick, right, against Brighton and Brentford, which he could easily do, right, then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my God, look at Ronaldo, let's buy him. So I thought that was sort of like the plan, but it really didn't go like that. He sulked really hard that he's not starting, and then you've got obviously an awful club that cannot be managed. And then yeah, I'm in a position now where I'm just sort of I've had to get rid of him, and I lost like 100, well it's like 100k basically, and I'm in a sticky situation because I can't really get a nice replacement. But that's not the reason why. I mean, I'm still happy to know that they're struggling, and I think to be fair, it's sad because Man United, the rebuild we were talking about earlier. Every team goes through it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
especially the big clubs, it's a bit different. But Man United was starting to go through that, and then it just sort of it was not maintained because the issue was everybody doubted Ollie because they were sticking with him, and then it was sort of like he stayed at a level where it's just like we're not taking us to the next stage, so we're going to get rid of you. And now you've got a bunch of players, and then you get someone else who's a temp, and then that temp starts, who's supposedly to be. You're going to take a role in the club, and then he starts cussing the club. So they fire him, and then you get the new manager that everybody's been praising, and then the new manager until this day has bought what left back, yeah, and what else?
Slash centre back.
Yeah.
He's
Oh my
been bought
god.
as a centre
No,
back.
no, no, no. Martinez. Sorry, so they bought a left back and a centre back because they've got Martinez, the 5'9" centre
Centre
back,
back.
and is it Malacia?
Oh,
Sorry, say the left.
yeah,
Yeah,
Malaysia.
yeah. Uh, yeah, so they're the two players that he's got. But is that it? Like, for example, everybody knows that Man United need the defensive midfielder. It's one of those shocking things that I cannot believe they've been doing from day one. Since the day they bought Pogba, right? He was not a defensive midfielder. They've been
Yeah.
trying to play him in that position. And then he's not performing. He's not a defensive midfielder. And then years and years and years, you're burning him up and you're wondering why is he not performing. He goes with France, kills it, wins a World Cup, does this, right? And
Yeah,
then
but he's playing as that attacking midfield role, isn't he?
But for a while, he
When
was playing as a DM. It was him
you,
and Fred, him and McTominay. Oh
I
my
know, but
god, it's awful.
I'm saying with France, with Juventus, that he was given that free role
Oh yeah,
as a
exactly.
Roman midfielder,
Yep, yep,
and he's clearly one of the best midfielders in the world when
yep,
he's given the freedom to do that.
yep. But no, United said no. We don't have any defensive players, so we're gonna stick you here, right? The next to one of these idiots, right? And then they are really,
No, yeah, it
you
was
know.
Fred or McTominay. Like,
Oh God! I mean,
come on, mate,
you
come
deserve
on.
what you get for playing them two, really. Like, especially in their positions. Don't get me wrong. Fred is another one that is just like Pogba. Obviously, not just like him, but similar story where he can dribble, he can do this. He's not even. He's barely a box to box. He's a central midfielder that's more of an attacking player. You're right.
It's average, isn't it? Very
Average, yeah,
average.
exactly. Bear in mind that was
Pogba at
15
least
mil.
at least had the you can see that Pogba, he's got the
Yeah,
charisma, he's got the skill, he's got
yeah,
the flair,
yeah.
and you're going to put that sort of player as a restricted CDM.
Yeah, but they obviously that's what we saw, and that's what the whole world sees. But Man United saw a 6 foot, odd player, well built. That's it. You will be perfect for that position. And then and then they're sort of like confused as to why
Yeah, but
nothing was coming out of it.
it's like having a Zidane and playing him in
Exactly.
CDM. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because he's tall?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, mate,
It's
no.
it's not it's not exactly it's not right. So you never got the best out of him. Now you're getting rid of him. I mean, that it must be one of the biggest L's in football. Have the player, get rid of him for free, and then you buy him for a huge
Buy
sum.
back for what was it,
Yeah.
85 million
Mate,
or something?
why ain't it like 90 odd? Wasn't he like the most expensive
Yes.
player for like a couple of days before Neymar was purchased? So like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like he
then
was up
obviously
there.
they absolutely smashed it with
And then
Neymar. But
PSG had to come and ruin
th-
the
that's
party in it.
do
But yeah.
you know what? Something to mention which ties in with the Barcelona, with Man United, with everything. That bubble of transfer
Mm,
uh, money, that it went mad
yeah.
for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think that's gone. I
Yeah.
think that's gone. I don't think that's going to happen since Coutinho. That transfer world of 100 million, 140, 120. What I think that's gone
Yeah. 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 I mean it's
because
they can't, innit? They sort of can't really well, it's not that they can't do it. I mean, they're still doing it obviously, but it's just to me it's crazy because it's almost like you're buying any sort of player because you like them, not because you need
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Like I said, they've needed for a while. They needed defensive midfielder, and they just have not addressed it. The last player that I remember to be good in that position is it Matic? Is it Matic? Am I thinking of the right person?
For United,
Yeah, yeah. Um, is it Matic?
Matic was there,
Yeah, I mean he's not great,
but
but he's
Matic,
sort
that
of
was
like
at
the
the end. It was at the end of his
exactly.
Chelsea. Like, he obviously had a great career at Chelsea.
Yeah,
it was like it.
but that shows you how. But that's what I'm saying. That's the best out of like the bunch that they that
Yeah,
they had,
yeah,
and
yeah,
because
yeah.
I remember when they got Fellaini. Fellaini was performing attackingly better than a lot of these players.
Yeah, but I'm thinking Fellaini was like, what, David Moyes?
Yeah, yeah, because it was one of his boys
He brought
basically,
he
wasn't it?
brought
Yeah,
him from
yeah.
Everton, didn't he? I think he had a good season
I
there.
think he was all right, but it's,
I mean,
I tell you what,
I
if
mean,
you
if
had
I say one of the standout midfielders at Man United, Fellaini,
exactly. I mean, I'll
come
tell you
on.
what. I don't. Yeah, that kind of is an indicator of like the shocking sort of like. And to be fair, that's why I don't blame them because they weren't like United fans weren't happy about these sort of signings. But then, if you were to ask him if you take someone like Fellaini today, they would probably jump at it because
Yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
got the
I'm sure.
qualities, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Because but
Instead of McTominay.
yeah, because you see, like for example, like quickly, McTominay and Fred. Yeah, McTominay is it's just another one of those players where they're like, how old is he? I don't know. Yeah, he's a
Yeah, maybe
young
good potential.
no, no, no. Listen, I hate all this potential business. Yeah, I've waited for Welbeck to reach his potential, for Chamberlain, for Walcott to reach their potential. You know, I've seen it all, especially with the British players. Yeah, I cannot wait for this whole potential thing. I think it's in a way it's so rare when a player reaches a potential, right?
Yeah, of course, of
they
course, of
they've
course.
got a standard and that's it. In the end of the day, obviously
Yeah,
McTominay must be doing something right for him to be at that. Oh, sorry, another one to add, Lingard. Like these players are over 30 and people deny Rashford to reach his potential. Give it a rest.
yeah.
These
Deli
players,
Ali.
Dele Alli, oh my God. These people peaked right when they were young and it just has
Yeah,
gone downhill.
I hear you. I hear you. I think
Um,
in English football, especially,
mm,
there's this whole thing about build up, build up, build up, build up. Players going to be amazing,
yeah,
and then we essentially kill players' careers
yeah.
because we get so excited about a player in England.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the
it
potential.
is
It's
what it is.
always
Yeah.
because a player 17, they're like, can't wait when he's 27 or can't wait when he's 24. And I'm like, okay.
27's old, isn't it? Come on.
Yeah, like you're waiting
How
for their
old's
prime.
how old is McTominay? Like
Listen, I couldn't don't know. Don't know. Let
couldn't
me
care less. He's
like
not going to be reaching any. McTominay. Where
there
is
we go.
McTominay from?
From Scotland.
Yeah.
He's 25. Um he's 25,
Oh,
so he's
he's
not
old
old.
enough.
But he's old enough to exactly for you to know whether you're good enough or not. Yeah,
I
he's
think
made
25 is that, like, if you're not performing at the top level by
yeah,
the time you're 25, then I'm sorry, but you're not going to get much better, are you?
exactly. And it's just not good enough. And I think
Yeah.
that's just a problem. He's 25 now, yeah. Um, you know, and it
Good Scottish player, good for Scotland.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go back to Rangers or something. You know what I mean? You make a
Exactly.
great player, but like seriously, it's not. He's just. I don't. He might do great at another club or whatever, but it's just another one of those players that always say he's scared of the ball. He doesn't want to receive the ball, and it's like, what the hell? What sort of like defensive
Yeah,
midfielder?
yeah,
You
yeah. All
know?
right, he can make a tackle, but is he
Yeah,
going to thread a pass through the middle of your defence? Probably
yeah.
not.
It's not good. It's just to me, it's not good enough. And then you've got the other player now. The other DM that you have is Fred. Uh,
He's been there for a while, isn't he?
yeah, he was like, how
I,
much they
I,
pay?
I'm,
50
I'm,
mil for him.
I'm not convinced. Do you know? I just see that he does everything. He
Yeah.
does everything well. He doesn't do anything great.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not spectacular. He's not gonna. He's not gonna do a fucking Cruyff turn on the edge of the box and stick it in the top corner.
No.
And he's not. He's nothing incredible, is he?
No. And look, he's 29 as well, right? He just turned
Yeah.
29 3 months ago. So he's now at this point. So they must have bought him yet again, he's prime sort of thing. For like, well, I think it was like 50 million. You cannot, you can't just buy these players and sort of wait and wait and wait. Don't get me wrong. It does happen in small instances where some players hit a mad peak, just sort of get to a level where like they feel they're crazy. Don't get me wrong, like Perlo was always a great player, but then he reached like when he got to his sort of like retiring age sort of thing, he became like world class. I remember like AC Milan were trying to get rid of him and and then he ended up at like Juve, I think it was. And I
Yeah, he went to Juve, didn't he? And he had some of the best years when he was like 32 to 35.
Yeah, so it does happen, but look, like, the fact that I'm
Yeah,
having to remember
but
a
no,
player's name,
yeah, but that
to
that is in a specific incident where
yeah,
a player like Perlo is so technically gifted,
yeah,
he doesn't need to move around the pitch.
yeah,
And like what I'm saying about like Perlo was always technically gifted.
yeah,
A player like Fred, he's not technically gifted. He can't do anything special.
no,
He can make a tackle, he can do a pass, but he's not going to pull out a fucking magic trick from nowhere
yeah.
and you score a wonder goal. It's just not going to happen with him.
Yeah, exactly. They've got mistakes in them, and I think honestly that is United's sort of downfall or one of. Obviously, they don't really have a striker. They don't have like a backup. I think they've got like there's a bad attitude within the club. There's a lot of issues, and I think it is going to be very interesting to see where they end up because you've already got two people talking about Ten Hag getting sacked. You already, you don't know if Ronaldo ends up getting what he wants and leaves. You don't have a striker, right? What are you waiting for
Yeah.
Rashford to hit his peak again this year? Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
see,
Like
that's
you've
the other
got,
thing with Rashford. I don't see that he's improving. Obviously, you had this Rashford 4 years ago, and you thought, "Wow, this guy's going to be, he's going to be a really,
yeah.
really good player." But where people joke, they say he's been making too much time on school dinners and all that rubbish. But the
I'm
thing
here
is,
for
as
it,
a
by the way. I'm here for it.
yeah,
There's no
it,
problem
it,
with that. But yeah,
he's not improved, has he?
yeah,
I don't see any major improvement in him, whether that's because the team's not improving as a whole,
yeah,
or he's not improving. I think Rashford's hit a point, and he's not really getting any better.
yeah.
But maybe at the same time, I feel a bit sorry for him because he's like they brought in Ronaldo.
Mm,
Maybe that should be his position.
yeah,
Like, get rid of Ronaldo, put Rashford in there, and let him do what he can potentially do.
yeah. But
Because
then
it's maybe not fair on him, is it?
yeah, I just feel like they don't want to run the risk, and that is literally it. They've obviously tried to put him there before; it wasn't working out,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
but
just,
this is
you
the
know,
problem with United, isn't it? It's
yeah,
rotten because
yeah,
they've been bringing in all these like big names,
mm,
and they're all just like so arrogant, and they expect more than they deserve.
yeah,
They're big cash cows for Man United. Let's face it. So you've got Ronaldo, Pogba, Fernandez. They all bring in so much money. Like Varane as well. Like all these players, De Gea, they bring in so much money for the club through merchandising,
mm,
but they're not giving what, like, as an Arsenal fan, I don't like to say this, but what Man United deserve,
yeah,
because
yeah,
they're meant to be a top club. But basically, there's loads of
mm,
top. They've got a handful of top players there, surrounded by average players that they just don't gel. They
yeah,
can't play together. You can just imagine what the dressing room's like at Man United at the moment with Ronaldo and Fernandez and
yeah.
like these big players that are all sulking, and then all these like young players that might be hungry. The top the dressing room must be so toxic.
I oh yeah, I think to say the least, really.
Yeah,
It's I don't I genuinely think it will be quite difficult to come out of this, and it could only get worse. I personally believe if you keep playing people like Maguire in defence, you
yeah. Come
deserve
on,
everything you get. Look,
yeah, come on.
people will argue this, people will
If
fight it, and I get it, it's their opinion. But in my opinion, I think he
he
yeah.
go on, go on.
If let's put it this way, if he was in English, yeah, they would have made him quit playing football already.
Yeah,
But
honestly, if he starts for England in the World Cup, I will. I just can't. I can't even begin to explain how I feel about that.
listen,
It's shocking. Did you watch any of the compilations of Maguire last season?
of
You
course,
know,
listen,
you
th-
get the compilations of players. Their skill moments. It was the
it was a
how many.
comedy. It was a comedy skit, honestly, an
Ah,
8 minute
disaster,
video.
mate.
How
Yeah, yeah. Not
listen, don't get me
there
wrong.
wasn't one or two clips, mate. It
No,
was
no, no. And there was
you
barely
got
any
a reel
replays.
after reel after
Yeah.
reel with Maguire
Like
just
this is like
making.
one or two seasons because I didn't see any of his mistakes necessarily in at Leicester or Sheffield wherever he was before. Yeah, there's none of that. It was just at Man United. There was just
I don't know
loads
if
of
we're swearing. I don't know if we're swearing on this, Mo, but
Fucking hell,
It's
innit?
just fuck up after fuck up after fuck up.
Yeah. Like, listen,
Disaster.
you are not like you're way too slow. Like, obviously, listen, yeah. What's his name? Paul Merson said it before, and it actually makes total sense. Like, the guy plays best in five at the back or like three centre backs, right? Because he was saying that obviously the only reason he does that is because Southgate. The only reason he does it is because he doesn't trust.
Because he's so slow, mate.
Yeah, he's so slow. He doesn't trust Maguire. But in a three or on a five at the back, it's easier because he's got the support of others. So
Yeah,
obviously, if you were to buy him, for example, you're United or whatever club you are, and you're looking to buy a player like him, you obviously analyze what's good, what's bad, whatnot. Am I playing with that sort of formation? And if so, then I'll take him in. But if I'm playing four at the back, then all of a sudden you can put me next to Varane, World Cup, Champions League winner, and all that, yeah, and I'll make me and him look awful. And that's
yeah,
exactly what's
exactly,
happened.
exactly,
Like, and and,
exactly.
and
One of the best centre backs that's played the game for a while, to be
yeah,
honest, Varane,
yeah,
and he's embarrassed him, made him
yeah.
look shocking.
Now it's just like, I mean, I think Varane looks happy to sort of be on the bench. And I'm sure, by the way, you need to bear in mind how this sort of impacts the future because at the end of the day, people are saying they're talking about Casemiro going to United, yeah?
Yeah,
Casemiro,
that's
right?
that's the one now, isn't it?
That's the one. And don't get me wrong, it actually is the only signing that sort of makes sense to me. But when I think of it, yeah, if I'm Casemiro and I'm getting a phone call, I could ring up Varane, my friend, yeah, who used to play there, and maybe Ronaldo as well, yeah. Yeah, it was good. Da, da, da. Like, before I even ask him, hello, mate, I see you on the bench a lot. You lot are doing bad. I don't know who this Brentford is, but you lot got beat 4-0 by them. Like, do I come? Because all I see is the fans slating the club, the owner, the manager, some of the players.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't come. And
Constant,
also,
constant
and
stream.
also, oh, what competition are you in? Because I've just won the Champions League. Are you gonna? Are you even gonna? Promise me to get in that same
Well,
competition? No.
what do you think Varane and Ronaldo are saying to him? Do
I
you know what
mean,
I mean? Are they
exactly
telling him to come to the club? Because
to
I
help
don't
them.
see.
But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but no, I think they're probably saying don't bother, mate.
Yeah. Or like realistically, scenario is like, please come, please come. Maybe more Varane than Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo's telling him run, like don't even look
Yeah,
in this
but
direction, right? I
also
think
like
I think Varane is saying yeah, but he's probably thinking, I'm not sure I want to go to this. Like I don't really want to get involved in this mess because you could end up being like any of those players that they've bought and then ended
yeah,
up going to waste.
yeah.
And look,
But
it's a
also,
downgrade.
why is Varane not starting?
Well, it
Why
was.
is
I
he not
think it was
starting?
injury, and then like I'm not sure what the reason is. It is actually kind of sad because Varane is sort of like faded out. I don't know. I know he did get injured like more than once, so he does have that reason. Because I'm sure they'll always start Varane if he's fit. I guess. I hope. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but because they brought him on at half time against Brentford, right?
Mm,
So why did he not start that game against one of the tallest teams in the league?
yeah.
And you brought in this bloody 5'9" defender. I just don't understand. I don't understand. I thought they bought Martinez as a left back, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh my
Eh,
god.
it's just baffling. It's baffling. Casemiro's 30 years old. Like, yeah, obviously he's got a few years in him. He's
Yeah.
good. He's a good footballer. He's got a lot to bring to the club.
Yeah.
But
But
I just don't see that Varane and Ronaldo are going to be saying, "Yeah, come to United." I think Ronaldo wants to leave. I think Varane probably wants to get out when he can.
yeah,
If he's not going to get played over a bloody 5'9" centre back,
the disrespect. Yeah, for
come
real.
on, man! Like you're
Like,
play, especially against a team like Brent, and I think Brighton as well. They've got quite a big team.
yeah. I
You know,
think I think they're quite physical, fairly physical. They did their job. Yeah. I mean, when you look at their defensive line and yeah, they are fairly well built. So
yeah,
you'd expect you'd expect sort of more out of him. But I guess that's just it's one of those things where you already questioning the manager sort of thing. Like, is he,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Well,
The whole thing just feels
there's
like a
that
mess,
there's that
doesn't it?
Dutch thing as well about Dutch football, isn't there? About you play technical football,
Yeah,
and I think that's what was being questioned after the Brentford game.
yeah,
Is Ten Hag coming to the Premier League thinking that he can play with this group of players that he has, the Dutch way
yeah,
in the Premier League? It's not going to work, mate. Not with that group of players.
yeah.
he's played a team like Brentford, who last season had the second best. Statistically, they were the second best team in the Premier League on
Wow.
set pieces because
Wow.
of their height and aerial ability. And you've gone out and put one of the smallest teams in the Premier League
Oh
history,
God, yeah.
against a team like that.
Yeah. You're
And
asking for
it
it.
just, you're asking for it. You're gonna get. They literally got pushed around. You saw the goal, Ben Mee with
Mm.
Martinez.
Yeah, yeah.
It was on the line, and Ben Mee literally towered over him and knocked it into the goal
Easy
because
peasy.
Martinez couldn't even get close to it,
Yeah.
and that was simply due to the size and
Yeah.
aerial ability of the players.
And I think that's just
Nothing technical about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's like someone being like someone that's fast, and you're not faster than them. There's nothing you can do about it. You now start to see how you can better your game for you to be able to keep up or deal with that pace. So, for example, that's obviously an issue that Maguire has, right? But I think
Yeah,
he actually lacks not just speed; he lacks mobility.
yeah,
He's not very mobile. So it's almost like what Martinez has is what Maguire is lacking, and then the other way
yeah.
around. But now I just think like, what is this like Dumb and Dumber?
But
Like, do you
they
know what
want
I
to
mean?
like
Pinky and the
John.
Brain, yeah.
Uh,
But I think you're now getting a worse sort of like
you want
result.
a blend of the two, not one of each. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
if
It
you get the blended
doesn't work.
two, you might actually get a
You
really
might have a
good
great player.
yeah.
You
But it
might have
doesn't
a
work like that.
Varane in top
Yeah.
form.
And there you go. Maybe if they were doing something just like that, three at the back and you've got them three
Oh
playing,
dear.
yeah, maybe something like that. But you're playing them two. And
They
then
might actually have the answer on their bench.
exactly. But you know what the hell are you doing? Maybe take one of
Terrible.
these awful
Terrible.
midfielders and put a good experienced centre back in there to help them. Look, there is so much that can
Yeah.
be done, but whatever is happening at the
It's not
moment is
working. It's
clearly
not
not
working.
working.
The club's right.
It's putting them in a really bad situation. I,
Yeah.
I mean, look, at least they're not doing what Barcelona are doing. Even though they registered their
Yeah.
players,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not. I do think a lot of what are wrong and bad that's going on is to blame the owners. There is a lot of
Well,
speculation, obviously about what they've
yeah.
done.
So again, at the Brentford game, it's not the first time. So there's been more protests
Yeah,
about Glazers out. You saw at the Brentford game there was
yeah,
huge banners saying Glazers out.
yeah,
It's not the first time that this has happened, but since then the club have released a statement. So the Glazers are actually coming out and saying they're going to sell a minority stake of their club. Whether that's because of the protests or not, I don't know. But the
yeah.
Glazers have been very like totalitarian about Man United since they've been there. I think uh, how long have they been there?
15 years, I think, isn't it?
15 years. So I
Maybe
was going to say
longer.
18 years.
Oh, maybe. Go, yeah,
Um, but yeah, they have come out and said that they're going to sell a minority stake of their club.
yeah.
And there's been all sorts of reports recently. Apparently, uh, who was it? Jeff Bezos?
No, no, no. Elon Musk. Elon Musk.
Elon Elon Musk come out. I think it was a joke. Elon
It was
Musk
a
come out
troll. It
saying,
was a troll. Yeah,
yeah, it was a troll, right?
yeah,
He's not going to buy the club.
no,
He's not going to buy nothing. But
yeah,
it's just evident. These United fans have been speaking about the Glazers for years and years and years, probably since Ferguson left. They've
yeah,
been talking about the Glazers, trying to get the Glazers out. So they've said this statement saying that this was released by the club, saying any new potential owner needs to be committed to the culture, ethos, and best traditions of the club. Now, what does that mean?
they're taking a
What does that
mick.
mean? What is the culture of
Yeah.
Man United? Because no one knows. No one knows what the
If
culture
anything,
is.
you don't want to. You don't
Yeah,
want to
the
do that.
culture
Yeah.
fucking stinks, mate.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
that's this a beautiful thing about the Premier League as well. Even if you've got obviously City and Liverpool dominating, but
Yeah.
you want your Chelsea and your Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United,
Yeah. Yeah. And these
maybe
chavs there.
maybe not Tottenham.
Nah, 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 nah. They don't
To
deserve
stay
to
in
be there. Yeah.
contention because
Yeah.
it creates like there's no other league in the world. You've got your West Ham, you've got your Leicester, you've always got your team that comes in.
Yeah.
and shows like we can compete as well.
Aston Villa. There's every year there's a club
Exactly.
that comes in, and Wolves, and that comes in and sort of
Yeah,
like breaks boundaries. And this could be, listen, could be Newcastle this year. Who knows? Maybe not
exactly,
this year, but
exactly.
you really never know.
Yeah,
Like they've had a really
yeah,
good end to the season.
yeah.
They've obviously got the finances there, so I think they're somewhat comfortable. I think that they've got a good manager. Eddie Howe's a good manager, and
Of
I think
course,
they
I
could
think
do.
he's a great manager. I think he's a
Um,
great manager. They've definitely got a good one there, and he's
yeah,
young. He's ambitious. I think he'll take the club to the next stage.
and I don't know if I was asking you this, Graham Potter or Southgate, who would you rather choose?
Oh, Graham Potter all day.
Thank you.
I
Okay,
don't,
good.
I don't, I don't particularly rate Southgate.
Nope, 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 nope.
Um,
He's an
I think
okay manager, but I think he would struggle in the championship. Let's put it that way.
I
Uh,
think that he's very much like a man manager. I might be
mm,
wrong. I don't know nothing about the ins and outs of
yeah,
what's going on in the
yeah,
England camp. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
But from what I see, I don't I don't have faith that he's a technically demanding manager like,
mm,
let's say, a Potter or uh, uh, a a Pep Guardiola.
yeah,
Obviously, I'm talking to the extreme, but I'd say that he just seems like a nice man manager. He just
yeah.
seems like to be around. I think the players like him. I don't think that technically he's amazing. That he
Yeah, and
understands the game to an extreme level.
yeah,
I
I
think I
think
think
it's
I
it's not
think
good
Graham
enough as well.
Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
I
the
think
other
I think
hand,
Graham Potter is technically he
yeah,
really understands football. He knows
yeah.
how to get the best out of players tactically.
Yeah. I know.
Um,
I do like seeing him. I'm sort of like what he was able to achieve with Brighton, and I think he knows it, because I think there was one
Brilliant,
stage last season they had a bit of a
brilliant,
bad
mate.
patch, and they were booing him, and he kind of come out. I think it was like, and he was like behave yourselves, basically.
Come on, look at the team
Like,
I've got here.
yeah, and I
They're
think
like
rightly
competing
so.
to get in the top half of the table. You're joking. You're gonna
All
boo.
right. Let's we've got a couple of, like, two more things really. Like, obviously we spoke about, we've just discussed Barcelona in depth, Man United in depth, and then we've got Premier League, obviously talking about City, Arsenal in the top six this year. Because of the length of it, we'll try and sort of, go through it quickly and just see what you think. So obviously, if everybody knows we support Arsenal, we said we'll try and not be biased with it,
No,
but
no
yeah.
bias here.
But
No
we
bias.
haven't spoken about Arsenal until yet, so you know what I mean. There
Exactly,
you go.
exactly.
But then
I've actually been biting my tongue a bit. There's a
yeah,
few
exactly.
moments.
We've been battering the other teams right now, though. Do you know what I mean? So I can't imagine we're gonna be sitting there like licking Arsenal's bum. You know what I mean? Like, did you know that we've got 100% win record so far?
Go
Um,
on.
come on. Well, it's only us and City, which is, I mean, it's 2 games in, so it's very
Yeah,
early to sort of think. But it's actually quite. I was surprised when I heard that on Sky Sports. Like, I was like, oh my god! So 2 games in, it's actually
yeah. I
the
didn't expect there only to be two teams at this point.
to only
hundred
like to win their
percent.
games. Yeah, exactly.
But
So
I suppose, like, obviously Liverpool surprise
yeah.
and Chelsea and Tottenham have played each other, so you can expect at least one of them to drop points there.
Yeah, true. But then, I mean,
And
Liverpool,
then,
I'd expected Liverpool to get a win by now,
oh yeah, 100%. Like,
you
I'm
know,
not saying that. Like, obviously
and
Liverpool.
Liverpool to score, to kind of, to have won a game rather than 2 draws against Palace and Fulham. Fulham and Palace, like,
Yeah,
bro.
to, to be fair, I think Palace put in an absolute blinder
Against, yeah.
against Liverpool. The way that they set up, the way that they performed, and the way that Patrick Vieira set them up
Yeah,
was brilliant.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah,
they had this bank of five, bank of four, and then Zaha in front, and they could not get through.
yeah,
It was a great footballing watch, to be honest.
yeah. No, it was. I mean, obviously they couldn't do it in the first week, Palace, but sometimes
Yeah,
it's just hard to, I mean,
exactly.
to,
Even more so. What a performance from Arsenal!
yeah, I mean, yeah, just more of like proof
And
that that's the case.
we should all listen to Big Pat Vieira a bit more. You
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah. What did he
what's he
say?
saying? He's saying Arsenal title challengers this season. Not me saying that. Patrick
No, it's Big
Vieira, all
Pat,
right?
innit? He knows a thing or two about football, to be fair. So I will just
Yeah, I'm
listen to
not
what
going to
he's saying.
dismiss it. I'm
Yeah,
not going to
I,
dismiss
I,
it.
I mean, I'm thinking he might actually be playing mind games because they did that last season with Arsenal, where they sort of started to hype up Arsenal to a point where
Yeah,
it got to their heads, and that's when Arsenal started taking big L's, like losing to Southampton and shit like that, and Palace. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I would
yeah,
be
yeah,
very
yeah.
mindful of the mind game, especially with the youngsters who are easily sort of
And
manipulated
Brighton.
by. Yeah. Well, apparently Brighton are a big team now, isn't it? Don't even count. But you know what I mean? Like I think fair play for the appraisals. I do think a lot of managers, like, it was interesting actually though, because after the end of the last season, before we started this season, a lot of the Sky pundits and stuff like that, when they got their top four, I swear, I promise you now, there was like a list of like 10 plus pundits, and there was only like three that had Arsenal included in the top four at all. Nobody sees Arsenal.
Are you sure there was even three? I remember seeing a list, and
Oh right, it wasn't that many, right?
I think there was maybe one that had Arsenal in there.
Well, there you go. I do think, because I think I've seen more than one list, so maybe that's included the Sky ones and maybe other
Yeah,
ones. But they
yeah,
just,
I've seen a couple myself,
yeah, and
and
I
to
just
be honest,
Arsenal were not
Arsenal
in
have been
there.
dismissed
Yeah,
in 90% of them.
yeah. And there's one of them that Arsenal literally doesn't even exist, so they don't actually see Arsenal top four ending the end of this season. So
Yeah, 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 yeah,
do you still think it's do you think it's the case? Obviously, I think for me and you, we've always believed that we will be getting top four this season anyway, didn't you?
yeah, yeah.
So
But I find it interesting because of obviously this is coming from a bit of bias, but
yeah,
if you look at last season, the youngest team in the Premier League,
yeah.
that team's only going to get better. We brought in a few recruitments. You know, you brought in a top striker, you brought in Zinchenko, you brought in a few backups across the
You
team.
you brought a defender who just won Player of the Season, or Young Player of the Season in the French league.
Saliba's come back.
That's you know what I mean. Like that's like a new signing because that
I
was you know
someone was saying before the Premier League started. Can't remember who it was. It was one of the. I think it was the Sky
yeah
pundit saying
yeah
you need to sell Saliba. What are you doing? You obviously don't want him if he's been on loan. Obviously, people don't understand why he was sent out on loan for
yeah
3 seasons in a row.
player
But
development.
it's a player development stroke of genius. Come on,
Do you know what I mean? It's such standard.
It-
No, you got fair play to Arteta to actually um to sort of stick
unbelievable.
to his guns, because I do think a lot of people where I didn't really understand the Saliba hype. I'm here to support my
It-
club. I'm not here to support a player.
yeah,
But there were people who supported Saliba more than supported the club, and they were like,
yeah, yeah,
Arteta's a dictator. He's an idiot. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, but
he's not.
now people are calling him bloody Rio Ferdinand.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, the way he's playing, from what I've seen, is actually crazy. He does look. He's giving me that Van Dyke confidence where you've
Yeah, come on.
got the pace, you've got the strength,
It it's the
and
composure, mate. The
yeah,
composure on the ball when he's under pressure, and he'll just do a little turn, and the striker's nowhere to be seen. Like
yeah,
you only see a handful of defenders do that, and
yeah. And have you seen?
It's Van Dijk-esque.
Have you seen there was like I think it was like maybe 10 minutes of one of the matches, right? Where he done like there was a slide tackle inside their own box and got the ball, and then there was like another tackle. I just watched 10 minutes of it, and I just sat there and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
we've
what a boss!
landed.
What a boss!
This is it. Yeah, like this is
Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
sort of because you don't usually
Yeah,
this doesn't happen often.
Ben White's looking at him like, oh, I'm getting my position back.
Yeah, in it. No, mate. You go to right back and you better fight it out with
Yeah,
Tommy
Tommy
Yasu. You know
Yasu.
what I mean? Because this is
Yeah,
like
and good luck
Saliba's not
keeping
going
Tommy
anywhere.
Yasu out of the side, mate.
Exactly. The only way is literally Tommy Yasu to
Ben
be
White's
injured.
going back to Brighton, I think.
Yeah, go have him. Do you know what I mean? No, he's good. I think Ben White is a good player. I do think I think he
And
will.
I think I think the staff at Arsenal talk very highly about Ben White. And you
Do
know
they?
how we are in England. We like an English centre back in our side.
Yeah, that might be. It might have something to do with it, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah.
No, but he's definitely a good addition. Would you rather have Ben White or Maguire, for example?
Well,
And that
yeah,
answers your question. I mean, whoever says
exactly.
Maguire, let me know in it. We need to have a chat. And then, but so I think they're building a really good side. Arsenal being a really good side, like you said, the youngest squad in the league. That means something. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was our strength, but also a weakness last season. We cracked under pressure. We couldn't make top four straight up.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
what it is.
100%. 100%.
But I think even
No,
like fifth was, I think, was an achievement. I don't want to say it is, but
No, but at the start of the
um,
season, it was. At the start of the
yeah.
season, it was. No one was expecting that.
Let's put it this way: people weren't expecting, for example, Arsenal to finish above United when they had
Yeah,
just made their signings, for example, and then you can see the strength of the other teams. So all of a sudden, Arsenal aren't even making a top six. Do you know what I mean? Not, let alone fifth, they aren't even making sixth. People are talking about
yeah,
Arsenal finishing back eighth again. If you look at videos, a lot of people were predicting for us to finish eighth again. So I think
yeah,
it's crazy. And the good thing is to know that at one point in the season, it was in Arsenal's hands. So it's not a matter of continuously chasing after and like not being able good enough to make it. It's we had it in our hands and let it slip. And I think it's a lot to do with a lot of the mental strength
yeah, yeah,
and the pressure
100%.
and
The
stuff like
age,
that. The
yeah,
age,
yeah.
exactly. And I think,
Expectation. It
but
was
that's
too much
fine
at that time.
because that's something that you can work on. It's something that you can like know what to do, sort of thing. It was interesting because I'm watching the All or Nothing Arsenal documentary at the moment. I've actually started watching the seventh ep. I don't know. Obviously, I'm assuming you're watching it all. Obviously.
You're
Um,
behind, mate.
oh, have you finished up to date? Even today's eps?
Yeah, I finished all of it.
Bruh. Okay. well,
Come on, I got up this morning to watch it.
yeah, that's literally what I did as well in the morning. But I had to set up for this video in it, so I'm gonna go and watch it afterwards. It's really interesting to watch what's going on. I do think Arteta's doing a
I
great job.
Yeah,
Um,
obviously the last two episodes they take a bit of a downhill
as you can
because
imagine, yeah,
yeah, like obviously the end of the season didn't go as we hoped, but
yeah,
taking taking what we got from last season, I think Arsenal went on leaps and bounds,
yeah,
and this whole the foundation for what is potentially there this season was laid last season,
yeah,
100%,
yeah.
100%.
It would,
Getting rid of Aubameyang, clearing out. I think he's done a great job.
yeah,
He's done a great job, and he's definitely he's introduced this ethos into the club and culture about like we're
yeah.
here to bloody win things. Like you have to respect the club and respect what we're doing.
Yeah, I know it's
So
definitely a build, and I think otherwise, to be fair, we'd find ourselves similar to some other clubs that
we
are,
might have mentioned earlier.
yeah, exactly, and I think that is literally what would have been the case. But I think, to be fair, the whole idea of actually Wenger leaving, and having his core base there and stuff like that, and people thought, oh, that's being washed away straight away, and there's new, different. But actually, if you think about it, his way was always his best interest for the club and how to help the club and stuff. He may have obviously made some mistakes in the sense he helped the team financially in not spending a lot of money and just sort of making money. But then obviously the whole idea of the players, I think that's where Arsenal were taking big L's one after the other, like getting rid of your best players on a cheap, like, and they could never like comprehend some of the
Yeah,
prices that they were going for. You're paying all that money and then you're
yeah,
selling these players for
and then
silly.
selling them for
Yeah,
nothing. Yeah,
Arsenal, in my opinion, are the
and
lot.
the contract situation, the wages started
Yeah,
going mental.
yeah,
Özil and Aubameyang,
yeah.
350s plus,
And
crazy
then
money.
it's not working out. The money's going in the bin. That's sort of obviously worrying. But luckily, we were able to fix that. I think we made one mistake that could have actually been really bad. Is Arsenal's highest transfer market paid for Pepe. Yeah, said it was
Pepe.
72 mil, 72 million pounds for some clubs. Obviously, what happens is you pay that much for a player, you sort of you're forced, you're committed to
You
use
forced
him.
to play him. You need to bring him in, don't you?
Like the other clubs that we've mentioned, they pay X amount records. You have to play these players, even if they're bringing your team down, and that's shocking. But
Yeah,
this is the part where I think we're lucky because if we had Pepe and Pepe didn't work out, or Pepe was playing to certain standards, and then we're thinking about replacing him, we can't get a replacement. We are messed because we at that point have got Willian playing as you know what I'm saying. That would have been, but luckily, and this is touch wood for this. We ended up having some of the best academy players coming through. Saka, Smith Rowe,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
like the likes of Kentia coming like
Okay,
along
yeah,
near the
yeah,
end of the season. So that
yeah.
was actually saved Arsenal. It saved Arsenal like massively because they were the players that like were leading this club. Sounds crazy, but that's
Uh,
actually what happened.
yeah, 100%. I
And I
think
think
Arsenal
we're
have had a
lucky for
good
that.
historically. We've had a good academy,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
we've
yeah, yeah.
always had players coming through. But yeah, obviously things got a bit lost with Arsenal in the
Yeah,
transfer market and the way that the club was going.
yeah. That
It
look,
was definitely a bit messy.
I think the one thing that always goes wrong, especially for the English clubs here now, yeah, is so another thing of Wenger's downfall was Wenger was known for he'd bring in the French era, right? Or the French greats. Well, he brought the players and made them great players, right?
Yeah,
In that sense,
and they were.
and they were exactly or
Yeah,
became and
yeah,
but now, what happened? Do you, because we've experienced this from young. What happened is when they've started changing from the French era to the English or British era, shall I say? Okay,
yeah,
that was the downfall of Wenger. He went and said, "All right, we've got Walcott, we've got Aaron Ramsey, we've got Kieran Gibbs, we've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, we've
Wilshere.
got Wilshere, and six. There might have been one more, but like they were the ones that were leading the sort of like the title, and that's it. That's what I've got, and that's what I'm going to turn these players into your Thierry Henry's, into your,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and sorry, Welbeck, and these
I
uh,
mean,
uh,
Welbeck
Chambers.
was later addition.
Chambers, yeah, I know, but
Yeah,
it was all part of like the whole putting the whole, like I'm gonna make this thing and I'm gonna want these Arsenal English players to now be playing for England. And to me, that was genuinely one of his worst mistakes because it's everything. It was literally everything wrong with the club. Paying £60 million for Welbeck and £60 million for Chambers. Oh my god! Like it was just like it's really sad to see, and it was genuinely one of their downfalls of Arsenal. So I think that well, Wenger when he did that, because if he had gone back to his roots, shall we say, then it may have worked out, and
yeah, but
you know
it's
you
not
have a good
as
base.
clear cut as that, is it? Because it
No,
was a case of that there was no money in the football club. So what do? You draw out of the academy. You try and produce your own players.
yeah,
And Wenger thought that he had the ability to make these players something special, which a lot of people thought that some of these players were going to be special. Wilshere should have been a extraordinary
yeah,
player, but
100%.
injury hampered him. The Walcott was meant to be an extraordinary player. Don't know what happened to him, but Arsenal had no money. There was no
Mm,
money in the football club
yeah,
when the likes of Man City, Chelsea,
yeah.
Liverpool came a bit
No, but don't
later,
get me
but
wrong. Though, can I
United,
say
these
something
clubs were
though?
all
But
pouring so much
but
money in.
but all right. Let me just say this. Yeah, you're talking about players that won't cost you money. Yeah, French players don't necessarily cost you money because Kante didn't cost a lot of money. Yeah, yeah. You
To
went to the
Leicester or to Chelsea.
well to Leicester because all we need to know
Yeah,
is go to to the
mate,
second French division.
it's a diamond in the rough. Do you know what I mean? You're trying to find
Exactly.
that. Obviously, yeah, all right. You can say Wenger was the man. Wenger was the man that found these diamonds.
Yeah.
But football changed.
Yeah.
There was all this money pumped into scouting and people that were finding. There was clubs were able to find these players where before Wenger just had a resource of French players. So he was like, well, I know the French market. I'll bring them in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where other clubs in England didn't.
Yeah. That's true.
The times changed.
It is that is true. I think I just found it interesting because it was fascinating to me. Because obviously, it was I do remember like the newspaper, like seeing it and seeing Wenger. He's got a picture of all the youngsters. They're all
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
they're all signing on the same
It went
day.
on the British
Yeah,
quartet or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I was like, oh, this is gonna be exciting, and I just feel like it's just been going downhill ever since, which is really sad. Don't get me
yeah.
wrong, I love Aaron Ramsey, and I think he was one of the
Ramsey was,
best
yeah, he
players to
was
ever play
brilliant.
in an
Brilliant.
Arsenal shirt, like underappreciated. The goals that he scores are just mad. He just doesn't score normal goals. They've always
Yeah,
been madness in
yeah.
all competitions. So it's not against like rubbish clubs. Like
No,
I
he's
remember there's a
great
goal against
footballer,
AC
great
Milan
footballer.
and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, we've spoken about Ramsey a lot.
yeah,
We always loved Ramsey. Ramsey was
yeah.
a great footballer.
And I would
I was
take him
sad to see him
back.
go to Juventus.
Same. Look, you see that video of him crying? I mean, it moved me as well. A quick one, right? Before, actually, no. Let's predict. We'll predict the end of the season finish, right? And then we'll do like one last thing, and that's it. We're done, right?
Yeah.
But I want you to tell me now. Yeah, predict the end of the season. Tell me maybe the top six. How do you think it's gonna end? You'll be held for this. We're gonna come back to this. So I want you to tell me who's
Okay.
who's
All right.
winning the league.
City.
Okay. So who's second?
Um, I'm going to say Liverpool. I'm going to say
Okay.
Liverpool. I'd still go with Liverpool. It's difficult though, but Liverpool's surely going to come back. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say they'd be second.
Okay. Fine. Um, Go and continue. I'm not gonna say third, fourth. Go on, you say.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Arsenal third.
Hey, yeah, you've been waiting to drop that one in. You just don't know. You couldn't do it first.
Yeah, yeah. I can't put them first or second, can I?
Yeah,
Realistically,
yeah,
if
yeah,
they
yeah.
finish second, then I'll more than happily say I was wrong.
Yeah, it is. But to be fair, if we got to second, I could become first now. Do you know what I mean? Like we've come this
Hey,
far.
we'll see. Look. I'm gonna leave Arsenal in third. I'll go Chelsea fourth. I will go Tottenham fifth,
Mm.
and I'll go Newcastle sixth.
Wow.
I think.
Okay. Well, okay. And where do you think United will finish then?
I think United. I'm going to say seventh or eighth. I'm not sure where, but I think they'll be outside the top six.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Okay, that's interesting.
yeah.
Fair play. All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, for technical issues we've had to stop the stream, and that was the end of it. But thank you so much for watching. We will bring you some more detailed stuff next time. This was just sort of like a trial run to discuss some stuff, and we will be back. Subscribe and all that stuff, and yeah, see you soon.